Doc V. It is Black History Month. And once again, we celebrate the accomplishments and the uprising, not uprising, but the coming back or the elevation of Black people in this country. One thing that pains me and frustrates me about Black History Month is that not many whites or people that are outside of the Black race, not many of them celebrate or listen or learn or study or look into what really happened or where Black folks really came from. Yes, we share, we talk about slavery, we talk about oppression, about how we've come from being considered less than a human being. We could be killed and lynched in the streets, hung for crimes that we didn't commit, ran out of our homes, run out of our neighborhoods because of people just didn't want us there. And what frustrates me is that people outside of the Black race don't really take the time to study and look at what happened to our people and where we came from. I believe if it was mandatory in order to receive a high school diploma or a college degree that you had to take at least 1 or 2 Black study courses, I believe that this would bridge the gap because many white folks are ignorant of what happened or where this racial separation, this division, where it came from. Now, when I use the word ignorance, ignorance does not mean dumb. It just means you ignore. Ignorance, you ignore. You don't want to look at the facts because it doesn't pertain to you. You don't want to look at disparities in the homes, in the communities, because it does not pertain to you. I remember a story of a young girl back in the, I think, late 40s or early 50s named Ruby Bridges. And the president enacted the law that separate but equal educational facilities was unconstitutional. And Ruby was going to be the first little Black girl that was admitted into this white school. When she got to the school, she had to be escorted by FBI agents or government agents to protect her. They walked her into the school and walked her to each class. And the white mobs, the parents of the kids, ran in after Ruby Bridges. They didn't run to Ruby Bridges, but they ran around her and they grabbed all their kids and took all their kids out of the school because they said, I refuse to have my child in a school with a Black girl or a Black person. They said separate. Whites and Blacks should be separate. They should not be together. And they went and they ran and took the whites took all their children, all their students out. And Ruby was in the school all by herself. Even some of the teachers quit. They didn't want to work there anymore. This was in our parents' lifetime, most of our parents' lifetime. And I could go on and on. There's Black Wall Street, 1921, and I've mentioned it before. The Blacks were able to develop their own communities where they had their own hospitals, labor pools, markets, engineers, doctors, builders, contractors, even transportation. They had transportation facilities. This was a community that was thriving. They had more Black millionaires in this community than anywhere else in the United States. And what happened? Whites saw what was happening, and they came and they destroyed this town. Took them less than 24, 48 hours, and they burned down several businesses, killed several hundred Black people, and left the place up in smoke because they feared Blacks rising and coming up and being on equal footage with them and in competition with them for jobs and property and land. So I've gotten into conversations with people about, well, the Black families tore up and you've got single parent homes and the men don't stay home and why the women working and the men aren't doing what they need to do. and they don't look farther and look into Jim Crow laws. They don't look into the fact that even though it's in the books that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is in the books, all men are created equal. It's in the books. We don't discriminate on jobs and on property and on loans. It's in the books. But the people that are operating the mortgages, or that are in charge of the loans, or that are in charge of the areas where people can rent property, or in charge of the restaurants where everyone should be welcome to come in and participate or have a meal. The hearts of the people, even though the laws are in the books that we don't discriminate, are discriminatory. And there's many people that just feel like they do not want to be on equal footage with black people. And 100 years ago, blacks could be shot, hung, lynched, raped, and nobody's going to jail for it. Now, things have changed. Ahmaud Arbery was jogging in a neighborhood about 3 years ago, and some whites hunted him down with shotguns, and they said he was robbing houses. But how are you going to rob houses when you're wearing tennis shoes, shorts, and a tank top shirt? And you don't have a car, you're just jogging, looking around. So they cornered him, he tried to fight back, and they shot him dead. 100 years ago, before there were cell phones and recorders, they would have just walked, and that would have just been another dead black statistic. But this time, the law got a hold of them, and then 3 men that were guilty, they had to take one for the team. They're in jail now for the rest of their lives. They tried to appeal, but the appeal did not come through. It was not successful, and these men are locked up and they're dead because they ran down a black man and shot him dead. That gave me hope that maybe justice is coming back to where people will be judged by their merits and their character and who they are, and not just by a stereotypical hate that is targeted toward not only black people, but brown people and other people that do not represent European, Anglo-Saxon, or European descent. People often talk about, well, people come from Russia, and they come from different places in Europe, and they come over to the United States and they do fine. Well, what's wrong with the black people? Why can't they do fine? Because our skin puts a label on us and sometimes makes us a target of hate and a target of division. Now, I'm going to break away from the traditional, well, blacks invented this, blacks invented the 3 traffic light, the 3 signal traffic light, open heart surgery, the super soaker squirt gun, many inventions, the cotton gin. Eli Whitney took credit for it, but the blacks that were out picking cotton, they're the ones that developed the technique or the strategy and the engineering for this piece of equipment. We can go on and talk about accomplishments in sports, accomplishments in science, accomplishments in the armed forces. The 671st Tank Brigade back in World War I was a brigade of 600 black foot soldiers and about 75 to 100 white commanders. And they led them into Germany. They were led into Germany, and it was thought that they weren't going to come back alive. But this black battalion is the reason that particular war was won. I could go on, and of course this history is available, and what frustrates me again is that many white folks don't want to hear about it. I remember at one job, a co-worker, he was white, and he came up and he said, well, how come we got Black History? Why can't we have White History Month? Why is this Black History Month? What's that all about? I didn't say anything to him because it would have been a waste of time, but it frustrates me that our history and what we've gone through and why we seem to be behind on the social economic level, on the accomplishment level, We seem to be menaces to society, and that seems to be amplified and projected and catalyzed because of attitudes of people that do not understand who we are as a black people and where we come from. I'm going to take a step further, and many people don't go here, but I'm going to go here. We have many Christian people, blacks, whites, Asians, that read the Bible. They believe that Jesus was the Lamb of God and he died for our sins, and that incredible stories in the Bible. Joseph, who had dreams and he became leaders in Egypt. Samson, who was an Israelite, who fought against the Philistines, and he had great power and speed, and he could defeat enemies with his bare hands. Stories of how Moses led the children of Israel out of captive. And story after story after story, when the Israelites were leaving and the parting of the Red Sea, and then the Red Sea came down and destroyed the enemies of God's people. Story after story after story, incredible stories in the Bible. Stories of Jesus, how he healed the sick and fed the hungry, how he walked on water. Just incredible stories. Gideon's 300, when he fought against the enemy and was able to defeat the enemy. Where am I going? Let me just go right to it. Most of the main characters in the Bible that you Christians are reading and worshiping and going to church every Sunday, most of these characters in the Bible are of African descent. Brown skin, black people. Many people don't want to hear this and they try to argue this. You can research it. You can ask your pastors, ask your theologians and your spiritual leaders, and they'll tell you many of these characters, I say all, but some of them it cannot be denied because it's clear in the Bible. Many of the new Bibles, the New English Translation Bible, or the Youth Bible, or the Bible that is written in not the King James Version, but the American Standard Version, it's been changed and changed. And every time they change it, they take out specific facts or statements that said this person was black, this person was of the Nubian tribe, this person was African. They take that out because they don't want you to know who you are or where you're from. The 12 tribes of Israel, the tribe of Reuben, they were Indian. The tribe of Simeon, Latino. The tribe of Levi, Haitians. The Haitians are black and brown people. The tribe of Judah, black, like African Americans that you see here. The tribe of Dan, brown skin. Naphtali, brown skin. Tribe of Gad, Indian. The tribe of Asher, black and brown. The tribe of Benjamin, black. The tribe of Joseph, Indian. The tribe of Ephraim, black. The tribe of Manasseh, Asian. Not one of those 12 tribes of Israel were of European or Anglo-Saxon or European descent. They were all black and brown people. This is offensive to many who are not black or brown people. And if some say, it doesn't make any difference. It's just, that's just propaganda or what have you. If it doesn't make any difference, why was the Old Testament whitewashed? Why was it? The stories were so incredible. Samson, the Philistines were upon him. He picked up the jawbone of a donkey. They backed him into a corner, and he killed 1,000 men. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the 3 Hebrew boys, refused to bow down to the idol, and the king ordered them thrown into the fiery furnace. And because of their faith, God delivered them from that furnace, and they walked out. Those Hebrew boys were black boys. Incredible stories. The stories were so incredible that the wider society grabbed those stories and put them in movies And when you watch a movie on the Ten Commandments, when you see Moses on TV, when you see the disciples, when you see the Israelites being released from Israel, when you see Samson, most of the movies, things have changed here in the late 20th century, but most of the movies showed these people as white, European looking. When it was clear in the Bible that many of them were from the black race. So why is this important? It is important because it lets me know that I come from something great. I am a descendant of something incredible, something powerful, something wonderful. And the Old Testament of the Bible is definitely a Black history book. So, that being said, if there are any people or listeners outside of the black and brown race, I hope you heard this. I hope you heard me. And I hope you research it for yourself. I hope you look for it. I hope you look it up. And I hope you dig in and find out the true Black history. Where did we come from? Why did our race, or does our race, or is our race still going through such disparities? The jury's still out on that. Many people talk about the curses that were set in the book of Deuteronomy. Some talk about, that the different races come from, I better not say and on this forum because it's going to sound crazy. And I don't want to get into that debate right now. But I believe that to join us together or to make peace or to bring whites, blacks, and brown people together is we got to learn about each other. We got to learn about each other. Blacks know all about white folks. Blacks who are successful would not be successful if they didn't know about the white society that they live in, or you would not be able to cope. You would not be able to go through the situation, the programs that are set up to elevate yourself. You wouldn't know. But whites don't need to know about black people because blacks are not running anything. There are very few things that we're in charge of. Yes, we're highlighted in sports and entertainment because people want money and they want to win, and we excel there. We would excel in other areas also, but it's more subjective instead of objective. Let me go here as far as athletic ability. You can Google it. The fastest white man in the world broke 10 seconds in 100 meters. He did it 3 times. And people had him on, showing him running on YouTube and showing him beating people and setting records in his little city and town. And they made a big deal out of it. He broke 10 seconds in 100 meters. Well, do you want to know how many black people broke 10 seconds in 100 meters? At least 160. People don't want to talk about that. There is a great strength and power and ability, not only athletically, but emotionally, and mentally, and intellectually. But it's constantly being suppressed because somehow we're seen or deemed as the threat. This talk might need to be broken into 2 parts because I kind of went over a little bit. But the Lord knows our name. Black History Month, February. I'm thankful for the opportunity to represent my people in a positive way and to speak on things that I've been aware of all my life. And I'm hoping that other people become aware of who black people are, our positive contributions to this country and to this world. And I hope that more love and unity can happen to help the races come together and become the great, powerful nation that we can be. God knows our name. be. I'll see you next time.